blood screams. I was an expeditioner once. You know this, but I must relay this to you now, in more detail, for reasons that will become clear. You are too young to know about the old ways, and only know of your present comfort and certainties. Certainties that will not always be so. You know only of the twin cities, the yawning river Angmet and its crystalline fingers of water spider-webbing across the thousands of paved streets and its dozens of shining gardens. You know of the colonnades and the promenades and the chapels to the once divine. You know of joy and you know of peace. You do not know of the sundering beyond the walls, the rot that transforms the Angmet as it winds further north, the fertility that spills into it, or the char that scorches it away. This is why I tell you what I do. I was once an expeditioner. You never knew me in this capacity. It was well before your birth. Like my fellows, I had been instructed by the twin queens in their capacity as the ever-divine. They queens were then, as they are now, resplendent in both ceremony and sagacity. The instruction had been to travel north, to assess the boundaries of our queendoms, to see if the wounds still festered and the chaos still reigned. Ah, you only know a little of the wounds, don't you? Old stories, folklore and myths, perhaps. You hear a little of magic and stifle laughter, as though it was not the bedrock of our cities. You hear a little of it and think of it as something from long ago, but you do not know that it was once called old. Not magic, but a phenomenon of creation, a force of reality, like unto the drip from a cracked stone to the roar of a waterfall. Many were old touched, but they lived in the north. Old was forbidden in the twin cities, as it should be, for at least water can be understood, notwithstanding its power. Old can be power most wondrous, or a force most rotten. Water cannot rival the strength of a mountain, save through the passage of long centuries, and water can only affect the physical world, not any other world beyond. Old is not water. Our expedition had travelled beyond the peace of the outer gardens. North beckoned, like a blackened finger. My company consisted of expeditioners, like ourselves, and several of those Thormists who were themselves, we long suspected, all touched. Sanford was one. You know him, though you have seen him sparingly. That is where we met, that fated expedition. There were others, whom you do not know, and never will come to know. How can I describe the scenery beyond the outer gardens? The green carpets give way to dry, cracked earth. Where the greenery holds steadfast, it is splashed in crimson, remnants of violence from long ago that continue to pool, memories of death that can never be cleansed. The fabric of reality begins to unwind as we march northward, and everything is an echo. The sky seems to stare at us accusingly. How might it have overlooked us, it seems to ask? How might anything still live? Thereafter it jolts us with thunder and stabs at us with spears of ice. It wishes to finish the scouring. The Thormists became alarmed by this. It did not seem sorcery to me, but mere unfavourable weather. I became increasingly disabused of this notion, especially on cold nights where its tenebrity seemed to tear open and scream words that almost sounded human. Yes, human, or inhuman. There is little difference. The thunder was cries of, "Get out!" and the bouncing, rattling hail was screams of, "You ought to die!" You think I am mad. For that, I am not. The world beyond what you know is uncanny and ferocious. It is steeped in the corpse of once wielded old. It is fragile and abused. it will never recover. You have heard stories of the blood fire. No? The song, perhaps.
Where those peoples found a path to wisdom, joy, and might, those souls are burned by fire's wrath. Their blood screams every night.
It is just a little song, to you, to all, but it is not. It is a retelling. No, not a retelling, a description of that which endures. We came to the edge of the cascade, a twisted place of earth, an unnatural deformation, all forged not by the permissible laws of man. Those people had been the Illyri, and I expect you know of them distantly. The people of the once divine. Yes, you know those stories? A mighty people, a ruined people. The cascade is what they left behind. Well, it is not all that they left behind. They left behind their screams and their fire. It has been hundreds of years since the Illyri destroyed themselves with voices so loud as to have caused reality itself to sunder. The blood fire is what remains of them. It is not a mere song. It is an enduring caution. As our party came to the lip of the cascade, we could see the fire, which has not ebbed in centuries. The smoke still agglomerates thick in the air, and at night, oh, the screams. Those bodies are long dead, naught but the cremated remains of remains. But something screams nonetheless, souls trapped like spiders. I suspect that they will scream forever in that great pestilent wound. The Thormists grew sick and fearful. Sanford would whisper to me, "This isn't right. It's an ill thing." And he was right. We would look to the forests east and west of us as a distraction from those mournful screams, as if it was some sort of salvation. But it was anything but. We had heard footsteps shaking the ground beneath the stars. Several nights of this as we tried to record the effect of the blood fire and whether any inhabitants remained in these parts. The footsteps seemed louder in our dreams. It was the third morning, after the second night, that we woke to find one of our party missing. Another Thormist, though I do not recollect his name. He was older and had been sicker than the others. I do not wish to recall his name, in fact. We did not find him whole, but we found all of him. It was unmissable. Pieces of him draped across dark, spire-like trees. Bisected slices of his skull enmeshed into the ground which had rumbled and groaned at us in the night. The soil was thick with his pooled blood, and I expect that is where it will remain. Another wound, another memory. Naturally, we were keen to decamp and to leave. Our survey of the cascade, such as it was complete, and we could travel no further. We were pleased to have escaped further south before we slept again, and we felt that this was good. Safe, it was not. Both Sanford and I had awoken at an unusual time, into a crepuscular fog. Time seemed to have no place there, or no meaning. But the footsteps had returned to us, and seemed to crash. The fog enclosed us, and everything such that the footsteps echoed more barbarically than they had before. Inky spots appeared in the mid-distance, the red stains of something large, the steps of something colossal, but invisible. We could do naught but stand and watch. Whatever manner of beast it was could not be avoided. We were trapped in our fright as those steps came toward us quicker and quicker, bringing with it a hint of the ash and burning that we had hoped we had left behind. The footprints stopped only a few stretches from us, but we could both hear something, something deeply unnatural and primordially wrong. It made sounds as though it was shifting, even in invisibility, assessing. Sanford fancied he heard a deep sniffing, but to me it was the rumbling of something determining as to whether its jaw should unhinge or nay. The singular impression I retained, and still retain, was that we were being observed. It penetrated me deeply. That was my sighting of the thing beyond, that creature which stalks in the north. Hmm? You want to know what it was? Yes, you might well ask that. I do not know, but I suspect it is a thing of the old, something not from here, summoned by chaos and horror and grief, something awoken and invited by the destruction that the Ileri wrought upon themselves. I expect that, in a sense, it is death itself. You wish to know why I am telling you this now. When Sanford and I and our party returned home, we petitioned to the Twin Queens to flood beyond the outer gardens. You will be aware of those works, as it all you have ever known. This was a great work to be undertaken, and I believe that it was only done by virtue of our terror. The good queens understood that there was something that needed to be kept away, a bulwark against horror. But the new queens do not know this. You will soon hear that a township is to be built on those works. The impassable will be made passable. I tell you this as a warning, for I fear those footsteps, as should you. Moreover, you are my great child. In my sleep I still hear that rumbling and those steps, but they are always at a great distance, across the haunches of the world, it seems. But they seem to come closer. Slowly they do, but closer. I do not think that I will be here if and when those steps arrive, when it brings with it smoke and screams. But I expect that it remembers my skin, my fear, my blood. All it knows is blood, and you are mine. It will remember me through you.